All right, good evening. It is Tuesday, March 10th at 6:01 PM, and I'd like to call to order the Keizer Parks and Recreation Advisory Board. Second order of business is to consider the January 2026 minutes. Is there a motion on the table for the minutes, please?
I move to approve the minutes.
For second?
Got a motion by Lisa and a second by Gwen to approve the minutes as presented. Is there any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say nay. Motion passes unanimously with, what do we have, 3 absent, 2 absent? 2. And that's Clay and Mike, yes? Great. Okay. So I'm going to ask a quick question for those in the audience, if you guys are okay. I know we have a lot of people signed up. Is anybody opposed if we just hear these 2 matching grant things really quick? Because I feel like y'all have similar things to talk about under item 6. Is there any... Mr. Philbrick, come on up. I guess we're doing interested citizens, so.
Okay.
Please state your name and, well, technically you're actually out of order, but that's fine. Go ahead, please. Rhonda Rich signed up first, but by all means, go ahead, please. State your name and city of residence for the record. And if you're going to talk about the pavilion, we ask that you keep it to 5 minutes.
David Philbrick, a citizen of Keizer. Live on Lock Haven. The closest park to me is one that goes from behind the apartments on Claggett Creek and then south. I would like to explore it and see what the potential there is. I know we've talked about a path and that kind of access path with all the apartments and the park to the south and the possibility of linking in with the paths at Claggett Creek. And hopefully in the future going farther along to the schools would be a wonderful off-road walking, biking amenity to the whole area. At this point, am not sure where the access points to that is. I'm also not sure where the boundaries are. And I would really like either to get an appointment with somebody from the Parks Department to meet me and that we could just walk it. Could look at where the access points are off of Verda and explore what the possibilities are there. And I've always thought of it being a place where possibly we could have some volunteer activities to start, building a more accessible path through that area. My memory is that it's 2 acres and heads along there. And at this point, it is very difficult to see the public access points off of Verda and to feel like you could explore it without potentially being shot as a trespasser.
David could give you a dissertation on this because he's explored it a lot. Mr. Loudon, turn your mic on.
And put close to your mouth.
How did I know?
All right, the two accesses off Verda are 10 feet wide, and they're basically on either end of the subdivision, and they go down a bank about this steep. In other words, we'd have to put...
David, your mic's not on.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, sorry. All right. Is it on yet?
Yeah, Tanya's throwing stuff at me because I forgot to remind you.
Yeah. Or you could take it.
We'd have to build some kind of staircase to get there. There is one access behind what the old, what is it called? Anyway, where Albertsons used to be. And I haven't personally been through there, but the access, there is no access from Shamawa. There's private property there. And then we have a piece of a property, and the rest of the park goes down to the end of the subdivision. It doesn't go all the way to Shamawa Road. Anyway, that way, where the park is, Claggett Creek Park. Doesn't go all the way there. I'm familiar with that. However, it is undeveloped land. Absolutely, because you can't get down this way, or you haven't got on, you don't have access from Shamawa Road. Either way, there's no access from either end of the park.
But Mr. Philbrick, I think what we're hearing is you're trying to work with staff to help determine creating access. Is that what I understand you're...
Yeah, and explore, just to get another set of eyes on what the possibilities are there.
But I do think with Carrie being fairly new, she's not new to the city. She previously worked with the city environmental services. Chances are you've actually probably been down in there. But,
I can do it,
yeah, with David's information, I'm sure we could probably help identify the appropriate locations.
but you can't get from the access behind Winco, you can't get all the way down because there's properties on the end of grass, whatever. They go all the way to the creek.
Yeah.
So
So we have a piece here, and we have a piece here, and there's no access on here or off Lock Haven. It's basically, they had to donate parkland when that subdivision was built, and they always gave you the crappy stuff. That's exactly what they did.
The hard-to-reach stuff specifically.
Well, it was absolutely useless and worthless. They couldn't build anything there, so they gave it to the county.
So the slope, that's okay with me.
No, not like this, like this.
I understand, but I'm not sure, I've kind of looked for where those access points are off of
Well,
Verdant.
I know. I
And-
actually
All right.
found them, the monuments on
David.
the ground.
And.
I think it's
and
clear.
I've not, at this point, where I believe they are, have a major fence and a structure of blocking so that I could not go down and climb down the hill there and explore the park.
Yeah.
And I also understand that connection in the middle, but it seemed like a very small, if we were doing a path through there, as is consistent with the old Parks Master Plan, that would have been a complication that had to be solved. But I mean, until then, you explore it from both ends. And I'm curious how far south it goes. I mean, I know that there's private property between it and Chemawa, but again, if we're going to do something positive for the future, same way that we purchased land to build a path along Claggett, next to Claggett Park, there are opportunities.
Mr. Lutton.
I can show you where the accesses are if you'd like.
Okay?
No offense to the staff, but nobody has a clue except me.
And
It's probably true. You have a lot of spare time.
No, I'm a surveyor. I know what I've been out there looking for the corners for those easements, so I know where they are.
Thanks, David.
okay, thank you.
Thank you, Mr.
I
Lutton.
assume we'll connect later or something.
Okay.
All right. Now, is there anybody for anything else other than the pavilion that wishes to talk real quick? Is there any objection from the audience? Just looking for heads. If we just go to these two grant things real quick. All right, so I'm gonna call it first, the volunteer shed and tools project. Mr. Dial, do you want to come forward? So Mr. Dial and I can tag team this. This is a request by the Keizer Rotary Satellite Club. I will state for the record that I submitted the application. I have no direct pecuniary interest in this. I will not make any money. In fact, I'm gonna make less money because I'm gonna end up spending a lot more volunteer time and doing free work. That being said, Mr. Dial, do you want to carry this or would you like me to help you?
I'll take it.
Okay.
So Keizer Satellite Rotary, again, we are an outreach of the main club that holds its meetings on Thursday. We have our meetings on the first Tuesday and third Thursday of every month. If you want to know what Rotary is all about, give me a call. Right now, we are in a place where we are willing to put together from the Keizer Rotary Club a $5,500 donation, $5,500, to put together a tool shed and all the tools that go in it. We've got wheelbarrows, all these other materials. And like this weekend, we do the Keizer cleanup of the city hall, we will put in literally thousands of hours between volunteers. These materials will go directly to that. I know you've got about a $13,000 cap on that, which is the add-on. I think it's a great value for your money, and literally every year you're going to get thousands of dollars back by this shed being there, available, securing our materials. If you've been into the shed right now, there's a little bit of disorder and things are not secure, so things can walk off. We'd like to make sure that when we show up, there's a wheelbarrow there. We'll do the maintenance, we'll do the security, and we'd just like to be another part of Keizer's keeping our city looking amazing.
So to add to that, the Rotary has already purchased all of the tools in preparation for this weekend. In fact, my kids and I spent last weekend putting the wheelbarrows together. 10 of them, very nice husky wheelbarrows. And the shed, we're looking to see not to exceed $6,000. That's actually gonna be at the very high end. It would only reach that limit is if we actually buy one that's, installed for us. We like to do the work and build a barn on Sunday. I think it's, anyways. So chances are it's gonna be closer to the $4,000 area at the very, very high end. This has been a project that's been talked about for the last probably 6 years. But again, the whole goal here is to have volunteer, equipment. So we're not raiding the Public Works Department's stuff. Create processes and things to make sure it's all accountable, checked out, et cetera, and so on. So, I can tell you right now that the money on the last page for everything with the exception of the shed has been spent, so it's a little over $4,500 or so. And the remaining piece is just the shed. Yeah. Lisa?
I was just wondering how much money we have in our matching.
From what I understand, there's only been one grant so far that's been given out, and I think that was for the disc golf folks. But talking to Robert, he said he has well over $12,000, I believe.
Perfect.
And that might be on the low end, because we're right in the beginning, we're kind of like mid-fiscal year, but yeah.
You're building a shed, not buying a, what are they called, container box?
Correct.
There's no space for that.
No.
It's gonna be 10 by 12, long ways. It's gonna fit along the fence over by, where the Public Works has their sand pits and stuff like that. So it's out of the way. There's an area right now that's just been kind of host to broken down equipment that's gonna go away, and we're gonna be able to occupy it.
Cool. Let's do it.
All right. Well, can we get a motion on the table and the amount not to exceed, please?
I move that we grant this matching grant not to exceed $6,000.
I'll second.
Got a motion by Lisa and a second by Jill. Is there any further discussion? Again, for the record, I don't have a pecuniary interest. I don't have a bias. Well, I have a little bit of bias because I really want the project to happen because I want to go out and volunteer more free time. But I feel comfortable voting unless you all don't feel comfortable with that.
Fine with me.
Okay. Okay. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say nay. Motion passes unanimously. Thank you, Mr. Dial.
Can't wait to work there.
Thank you.
All right, Peggy, come on up. And you're welcome to stay for the master plan discussion if y'all wish, but. Peggy, you're gonna do more great things. Happy to see you.
I'm sorry?
You're gonna do more great things. I'm happy to see you.
Oh, thank you, I hope. So I'm Peggy Moore, and I live in Keizer, and I oversee and represent the Peggy and Jerry Moore Community Garden that's located in Chalmers Jones Park. And I'm here tonight to request a matching grant for $350. And that will be used for fertilizer, insect control, all the things you need for gardening. We have 18 regular raised beds that give the opportunity for families to raise gardens. Plus we have other beds, pots, hanging baskets, barrels, a lot of things that we grow, herbs, flowers, all kinds of things, just like you would do at home, times 20 maybe. So $350 goes a long ways for us. I work all year long to make sure that we get discounts from the stores that we do business with. And we stretch our money and we do really good. And if you ever come by, I hope you're impressed with us.
Carrie, I hate to put you on the spot, but I feel like we actually never hear of these kind of requests from Mike Whittem, right?
No, we don't, and it's because of the partnership and the connection that PEG has with Robert, probably. You've been coming into these meetings and asking for different things that the garden needs. So other garden coordinators haven't done that,
I wonder if a need there, though.
probably.
Like, I'm just wondering, because I love seeing Peggy. I'm very happy that she comes every year. but I feel like this is a nominal amount of money, and I'm just wondering if it's something we could theoretically program annually. Because has to come back every year. I'm not suggesting that was what we have to do. I think we probably have to have a conversation about this grant tonight, but maybe looking into this fiscal year won't work because y'all are in the middle of that next year, but the following one might be something worth looking into because this is an annual thing where they put this kind of work in. And if we can benefit both of the community gardens similarly, maybe it's worth it. What? I've never been accused of not being loud enough.
Okay, I'm accusing you right now.
Sorry, Carrie, Peggy, I was asking, Carrie about possibly creating, an opportunity for funds just to come naturally every year through the budget process to help out with both.
That would be great.
Yeah.
Save my nerves.
Yeah, I do think that's something that we can look at, when you're talking about, budgeting.
Yeah.
It does, of course, I don't understand the full, if this is the request, then I think that might be something we can
Yeah.
pull down.
I think we still consider the grant as it is right now. Again, I think it's probably too early for this fiscal year
Yeah.
and even next fiscal year, but I'm thinking out loud because it's a lot of work for Peggy to kind of put this all together. It's not a ton of money. There's a lot of value there. And I think if we can make it predictable so that it functions for both gardens equally, might be worth a conversation.
Are there other community gardens?
There's
as
Mike
well?
Whittem over by the Little League field as well. And I think.
And they
is
do
that-
the same,
There's more, but those are the two that are at the.
Yeah.
the
that
local
come here
parks.
for,
Yeah.
okay. Yeah, I think
Well,
that's something we should look at.
Well, like Tanya said, Mike Whittem's never come in and asked because their organizers aren't as organized. Well, I should say, I don't even know who they are. Peggy's very organized. She knows what she needs every year, but they've never come, Mike Whittem's organizers have never come in and asked for anything.
I can reach out.
It's my park that's one of my responsibilities. Why don't I go ahead and reach out to him and
Great.
see if I can connect with them?
Lisa?
And I just have one Peggy for
One
question.
Peggy for question?
I have one Peggy for question. I'm so sorry. Is $350 like right at the line? Would it be better if we authorize not to exceed $400 to give you wiggle room in case some prices have changed? Or is $350 you're pretty solid?
Well,
I think last year we had
of
5.
course, we're grateful for whatever we get. I do work on getting discounts and getting things donated. We seem to get by. I do get some seeds and some plants from like the food share. It's never enough for the whole garden. There's always tools that need to be replaced and everything else, but what we get is what we get. If we had more, we'd do even better. I do have a project this year that's gonna cost between $100 and $125 that will be a permanent fixture in the garden. And so, you know, that takes up part of it. I'm happy for whatever you, oh, sorry. For whatever you would like to give us. If we had $400, I can guarantee you that we would spend it wisely. And I assure you that the gardeners get way more than $350 worth of produce out of each garden.
Well, and the value, the skill set and the value that you're giving people, I think you can't put a dollar amount on that. For young people that never get to do this stuff, for them to get out and do this, you can't put a dollar value on that.
That's true. It's very difficult to
Yeah, no.
decide what the value is.
Lisa,
So can I make a motion?
you may?
I would like to move that we grant a grant to Peggy Moore Community Garden, Jim and Peggy Moore Community Garden, not to exceed $600.
There's a second?
second.
There's a motion and a second to approve the Peggy and Jerry Moore Community Garden grant total for not to exceed of $600. Is there any discussion on the motion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say nay. Motion passes unanimously. You got 600 plus.
Thank you very
Or
much.
600, yeah.
Appreciate it.
Thank you, Peggy. We love seeing you.
Come by and see us.
And you always give us herbs.
All right. So I think let's jump ahead or let's go back to appearance of, so Donna, I'm sorry I'm screwing up your minutes here, but I'm just really trying to be thoughtful of people's time here. What I'm proposing to the board, I'd like to see if we can go back to interested persons, do that, and then jump to 6, just wrap 6 up, we'll go back to 5. Is there any opposition to that?
No.
Okay, so, Rhonda Rich, come on up. So just so you all know, we're gonna go back to 5 here in just a little bit, but we want to make sure to get you all in and be thoughtful of y'all's time.
Appreciate that.
Yep.
Good evening, Parks Board, city staff, and Councilor Kohler. My name's Rhonda Rich. I'm president of the West Keizer Neighborhood Association.
Hi.
Short? Okay.
Time's up.
Do I need to push anything?
You're
Okay.
fine.
Okay, so, I think you all have in your packet, I got it in time. I just wanted to, first of all, introduce what we think of as a pavilion, what many, different definitions are of a pavilion. I won't you have the copy of them. I won't say all of them. But a pavilion is an open-sided or light-frame building used for shelter, shade, or as a venue for events in parks, gardens, or public spaces. They offer versatile, covered outdoor space for dining, concerts, or recreation, often enhancing landscape design. That's the AI overview. So there seems to be a little confusion as far as the definition of pavilion and what we have been talking about, and what the Community Prosperity Initiative grant was proposed that was applied for in May 2024 by the City Council through Marion County, which outlines a pavilion concept. But in the application are the following criteria, which is a metal building ranging from 775,000 to 825,000, measuring 100 by 250 feet, which is 25,000 square feet. And Mount Angel Fest Hall, just to give you an idea, is 20,000 square feet and accommodates 300 people. The variety of uses was listed, and I can understand that they wanted to put everything in there because we don't know exactly what it's going to be used for, but community events, recreational activities, educational programs, cultural performance, community meetings, outdoor shelter, youth community programs, and lastly, Keizer residence events. The project timeline on this was 2024 to 2029, 5 years. So in year 1, I think, even though we're in 2026, we're in the Parks Master Plan Amendment process. After having taken this information to the West Keizer community, it is unanimous that no one wants this type of structure in the center of the park. We define the center or heart of the park as the area south of the Big Toy to the fence line and east of Walsh Way and west of the homes on Tate Avenue. It's an area halfway between Chemawa Road North and the Willamette River. The two main reasons that we want to preserve green space there are aesthetics. We want to see a park-like landscape of shade, trees, and green grass as you enter the interior of the developable land in the park. Create pathways through the area so park goers can walk, sit on a bench, picnic, and enjoy what Mother Nature has to offer in a green, scenic, and calming environment. Family-friendly activity space. This is prime land for families and groups to be able to use. Open-sided picnic shelters, the big toy and small sport activities. Maybe horseshoes, set up a badminton net, set up a small soccer game, and a green dog park. An area that is open to the public at all times. The location of this indoor facility, and we should call it what it is planned to be, it is not a pavilion, as I previously shared with you, and what the general public envisions. What was described in the CPI is an indoor facility of a magnitude that needs auxiliary buildings and parking for about 200 cars. A facility of this nature should be located near Chemawa Road, as was in the November 2014 Keizer Rapids Park Master Plan. It was originally planned at the intersection of Walsh Way and Chemawa Road, but on the east side of Walsh Way. If approved to go back in the master plan, it should return adjacent to its original location. So now that the soccer fields are in, the plan should be to move the site for an indoor facility to the west side of Walsh Way, where the current dog park is. The original plan to put an indoor recreation building near Chemawa in 2014 was due to easier access from Chemawa Road. Parking would be near the main street and a building would not be sitting as a centerpiece in the center of a riverfront park. There was a lot of thought in that process, and I hope that you will consider these earlier decisions. This is the preference of the West Keizer residents, and I would feel confident in saying that if you polled other park goers, that they would much rather have green space to be used by the general public in the center of the park than walking around and viewing the hardscape of a large metal or concrete building. Let's preserve and care for natural green spaces that many residents enjoy. Let's have our children playing outside in the fresh air that we are so fortunate to have in Oregon. Please do not put a metal building in the center of our park. Let's be good stewards of our parklands. So we hope that if your recommendation to the city council is to include a facility at Keizer Rapids Park, that you will request defining the structure as an indoor activity center, or indoor multi-use center is what it was called before. Locating the indoor activity center and its auxiliary buildings and parking in the area by Chamawa Road, sharing with the public the costs of construction and maintenance, and ask for approval of these expenses before it is built, and deciding who is going to manage the facility.
Thank you,
And
Rhonda.
thank you for your consideration.
So it looks like Ruth Ann wants you to read her testimony. So she is signed up next, but if you want to read her, I
Yeah.
guess any questions for Rhonda before we ask her to read Ruth Ann's testimony?
Thank you for putting this together, very helpful.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay, Ruth Ann Fry lives at 4819 Tate Avenue. She's ill tonight and asked me to read her testimony. She lives on the east border of the park. I'm in agreement with Rhonda Rich and Mandy
Somebody, who, are you?
Oh, it's starting over.
Is it Dan?
Yes.
Counselor Kohler.
Okay, I'm in
He
agreement.
never got to go on Celebrity Square. He's very sad.
Oh, are you in charge?
Liam, can you please go teach Mr. Kohler what's going on over here?
Okay, it's at 0 now. Okay, thank you. I'm in agreement with Rhonda Rich and Mandy Hanson, President and Vice President of the West Keizer Neighborhood Association, to locate prospective pavilion north side of park bordering Chamawa, where current dog park exists. One, to reduce internal park traffic and keep majority of cars parked close to Chamawa away from beautiful green areas. Two, families utilize green areas surrounding established playground area to play soccer, bringing their own small goals, play baseball and catch during family functions and celebrations. Three, others use the field closest to playground to train their dogs and interact with families. Four, great blue heron. I've seen some up to 3 at a time hunt in the very same field, as well as red-tailed hawks, kites, osprey, and occasional eagle chasing an osprey to steal its prey. Five, I could claim that most of all of the walkers in the park, as a consensus, want the fields kept green. No large buildings or parking lots or increased traffic inside the park. I would like to know, one, impact of a pavilion on taxes, cost of maintenance, cost of heating and cooling the structure, traffic flow, et cetera, on the population of Keizer tax-paying citizens. Two, what other locations have you considered for an athletic complex pavilion? Three, what other options have been considered for location of Keizer Fest? What other options of purchasing a tent and storage have been considered for the 4-day event? Is the purpose of the pavilion to pay for itself? Charging usage fees? Day use park fees? Is a pavilion something that will benefit everyone, or will it be a long-term cost burden? These are some of the questions that come up from current park users. Thank you for entertaining these comments and questions. Sincerely, Ruth Ann Fry.
I think we need to ask you a lot of questions. I'm just kidding. You're not gonna be able to read Ruth's mind. Rhonda, thank you for coming and reading Ruth's testimony as she requested. I appreciate you being here. Is there any follow-ups for Rhonda while she's here? Thank you, Rhonda.
We want to work together on this. Thank you.
Mr. Philbrick, did you have a reattack on this? I should have guessed. State name and
Thank
city of
you.
residence for the record, if you would, please, and your 5 minutes will, I'm gonna count more on Tanya here. I promise you I'll be a good steward of the time. You got it? Please.
David Philbrick, resident of Keizer. Mr. Chairman, thank you. And you all know my feelings, so I'll try to keep it really short. Keizer Rapids by the Willamette is the best natural area in Keizer. a large indoor structure is not a compatible use at that location. I'm not quite as diplomatic as Rhonda, but I don't think a large structure should be built anywhere in Keizer Rapids. And it's not to say that such a structure wouldn't be beneficial to Keizer. It's just simply that that's not the right location for it. And places closer to where we have other large structures, parking, restaurants and things that, amenities that people using such a structure might like to take advantage of would be all much more appropriate. And certainly if one considers putting it at the dog park, you need to move the dog park. That was certainly one of the first amenities in Keizer Rapids, was one of the things people really wanted there. So anyway, thank you. And again, following my comments at the previous park board meeting, I did hear from other people in the community who said, hey, we really agree with you that, Keizer Rapids is a beautiful open area. We want to keep it that way. Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Mr. Philbrick. Carol and Ron Allen. Y'all want to come individually or one at a time? Together? Individually, one at a time. It means the same thing. I'm just learning how to speak today. Would you like to come individually or together? I apologize. I'm very nervous. I have stage fright.
I bet you could run the timer too.
Go ahead.
I bet you could run the timer too.
Maybe. You're welcome to come. If you don't want to come forward, you don't have to.
I would like to say that
Great.
I would support, my name
So
is-
grab
my
a
name is
seat, and if you
Carol
would, state your
Allen.
name and city of residence for the record, and tell us your thoughts.
My name is Carol Allen, and I'm a Keizer resident. We live just east of the park on Tate Avenue.
Okay.
And I love the way that Rhonda described it. It is not a pavilion from what we're looking at. It is an indoor use facility, and I'm totally against it. If it had to be there in any shape or form, having it up by Shamawa would be the best location, I believe, for it, but.
Okay, that's it. Thank you. Mr. Allen, did you want to come forward, or are you good?
Carol.
Good? All right. Mr. Reiswick. You signed up. Louis Reiswick.
Thank you, I know
The public comment.
Signed up for public comment.
I thought I was just saying that I was here.
I love the fact that you're turning red, though. You're almost as red as Hirsch always is. No, you're good. Okay, I'm teasing. Mandy. I'm not picking your dad. I love your dad.
Matt's on a
We know I love your dad. Welcome, Mandy.
Hello, this is Zach. He's a park user.
Hi, Zach. Are you having fun? Great.
Amazingly, he is. I'm Mandy Hanson. I live on Tate Avenue, right on the park border. And so I am also the vice president of West Keizer Neighborhood Association. And so Rhonda and I have gone out and canvassed the close by neighborhoods to the park. And we've definitely heard a lot of opinions. And so basically, I know today the plan is to finalize a location for a pavilion of some sort. And so my thought would be site B, right, on Shamawa. And it's not because I'm like, this is the best place ever. It's because there is concern of it becoming an indoor sports complex, a large warehouse, and no matter how you paint it or decorate it, it's going to be a large warehouse type building. You can pretty it up, but it still will not have the greatest natural aesthetics that go with the park. And so my thought is, well, if it's going to happen that way, Shamawa would at least mitigate that a little bit. And like others have said, the traffic going in. And I also was going through, what is this, the 2021 master plan. And so I was going through the assessment sections, and I have noticed like the Keizer residents that were pulled on most important park qualities, natural was number one. Keeping the creeks, the trees, making it look natural. And then also funding priorities question. At the very bottom, almost very bottom, just above no opinion, is indoor recreation. So the top is repair park features that we already have. And then over on, and this is all in chapter 3. I noticed there is what Keizer Rapids amenities and priorities. Number 1 by a lot, adventure course. The other ones were trails, and they're all outdoor activities. The indoor activities were not high on the list. The closest to a multi-sport court center was everybody's second choice. It was nobody's first choice. And so basically, I am all about keeping things green. Once it's gone, it's gone. So my thought is, if Keizer and the community is insistent on an indoor complex, Keizer Station has building lots, has parking, has restaurants, has shopping, access to freeway for tournaments. What about the old eyesore of Rite Aid? I feel like there's other locations that could potentially be explored rather than the park and keep it more for outdoor activities. I have no complaint. I live right on the park, right by the soccer fields. The sounds is fantastic. I love looking out and seeing people enjoying outside. I have no complaint about that. I do know Shamawa can get very busy at moments, and this will only add to the Shamawa situation. So my thought is explore other locations. If the pavilion needs to be for Keizer Fest or something like that, maybe an outdoor kitchen situation. And that seems like that would also be, in my mind, more beneficial to an outside festival anyways. Is that the end? Okay. Well, I'm basically done, so.
Thanks, Mandy.
Yeah.
Zach, did you have anything you want to offer? No, you're good?
He's hoping there'll be some bugs and worms to dig up, whatever the plan is.
You know what? My Zach's almost 15 and we can go find all the bugs.
Right? Spend forever digging up logs.
Thanks, Mandy.
All right, thank you.
Hirsch? Welcome, Hirsch. You know the drill, sir.
Good evening, Mr. Chair, board members, counselors, staff. I'm Hirsch Sangster. I live in beautiful Keizer and have most of my life. I'm one of the original committee members for the river and work plan committees. So I know some of the history and why things were thought of and why areas were protected. And during that time, what we heard is what you've already heard: green space, green space, green space. And, you know, the soccer fields, the big toy, they were talked about, but were wanting to be away from the prettiest areas that we have. Originally, that space, there was a space open for a building of some kind, and obviously it got moved. I'm also a board member of the Northwest Keizer Neighborhood Association, which is right next door to West Keizer and the park. And we don't have a park in our neighborhood association. We're the only one. The only thing we have is a liquor store.
Oh, all right.
So Keizer Rapids Park is a place that we love. And a lot of our members have talked about walking over there, walking the green space. So we're very supportive of the West Keizer Neighborhood Association's point of view on this. And me personally, knowing what I heard in the early 2000s about what Keizer residents that came in and talked about back then. And we had Saturday sessions with 300 or 400 people with their yellow dots, what they wanted. And as Mandy Hansen said, it was always that more beautiful, the views, those kind of things. So we want it to continue to be a happy place and a green place. And our neighborhood, one of the big concerns we've always had is parking, because it does, it doesn't happen too often, but we could see it happening more, is parking starts backing up onto 15th over to Willow Lake, which is our neighborhood association area. So I like the idea of maybe thinking about a structure somewhere else, but if we have to, Area B probably is a good area, but don't take away the dog park. That was our first amenity that we got through.
Hirsch, can I ask a clarifying question?
Yes.
If you're saying Area B and don't take away the dog park, those things can't exist at the same time unless you move the dog park.
We don't want to take away the dog park, we got to replace it. Because,
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm hearing what you're saying.
Yeah.
Okay. I just want to clarify, because
It is used.
I'm not a physics guy, but I know two things can't occupy the same space.
Yep. Well, you know, where it was originally
Yeah.
centered, it didn't interfere
Okay.
with it, but, that park is used rain or shine by tons of people.
Yep.
From Mandy's house, you can watch people out there all the time, and it's
I
just,
feel like it's either Mandy or somebody, her neighbor's the only dogs I've ever seen on a trampoline on a regular basis, but
well, she had to get rid of that trampoline, but because the dogs wore through it from bouncing and looking at people out there, so.
what's your dog? Fair enough. I mean, it was fun, but anyways,
Yeah.
sorry.
So it is a regional park, and it's a park that I just came off being the chair of the Marion County Parks Commission. And even in some of our discussions, well, you know, they did this at Keizer Rapids Park. And our surveys for our parks that we're trying to rebuild is always keep it natural.
Yeah. Thank you, Hirsch. And I appreciate you offering sort of a historical perspective on that as well. I think it's important. One of the great lessons Jerry McGee taught me years ago was don't forget how you got where you are.
Yep.
So thank you.
Thank you.
All right, Ellen Marsh? Oh, I'm just kidding. I lied. Carolyn Holman, then Ellen. I apologize. You both weren't purple. I got confused. My apologies.
Very simple.
It's close enough. It seemed like a reasonable excuse at the time. Yes. Hi, Carolyn.
Hello. I thought I was off the hook there for a minute. Carolyn Homan, resident of Keizer. Keizer Rapids is just a gem. It's a wonderful park. So many people use it. I bird there. Salem Audubon has an annual walk there. There've been at least 2 this year. We always have one in cooperation with West Keizer Neighborhood Association. I think the last bird walk found 45 to 50 different species of birds. So, and we try to go in September, that's migration. It's a big collector of migrating species. And so I have some issues with a big pavilion in the park because I think there's never too much green space in a park. And I think that this proposal came about in part to replace the tent rental for the Keizer Chamber for the Keizer Fest, but I think that tent is 100 by 50, and now this has kind of taken on a life of its own. It's now 100 by 250, which seems to me huge, and for all kinds of events, which fine. I agree with Mr. Philbrick. If you want an activity center for Keizer, it's a great idea, but I don't agree that Keizer Rapids is the place for it. Too much park green space sacrificed for something that big and imposing. So that would be my vote. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Carolyn. All right, any follow-up for Carolyn? All right, Ellen, I'm sorry. Now, please come on forward. and I appreciate your forgiveness for getting it backwards.
That's fine. So Ellen Marsh, and I live on Tate Avenue and right a border of the park. And I don't have a lot to add. I pretty much concur with what everybody else has said. I feel the pavilion came about because, I mean, as far as I'm aware, because of Keizer Fest. And I think that is something that, looking at the cost of, I think it was like $20,000 a year for the Keizer Fest tent versus this pavilion, which 30,000 versus this pavilion, which 500,000 to $1 million I was seeing in some of the notes. So anyway, I'm very frugal, so I would stick with the tent. The location, I really agree with most people that I don't think it's the right spot in Keizer Rapids Park, because it is the green, it is a gem. I'm out there every day walking, and just putting a big building out there, it just would, I don't know, it'd ruin the ambience of the park for me. But I like the suggestion to go look at other locations, like with, I can't remember where somebody mentioned, Keizer Station, yes. And yeah, I would vote for what the gentleman just brought up about the dog park. Where would that go?
Yeah.
You know, where would that go? So that would be another situation to address. And I don't know, I think I was trying to do it without looking at my notes. Yeah, overall, just the loss of green space. I think we're all in agreement. We don't want to lose that. So.
Great.
So,
Thank you for being here.
thank you.
You've been engaged a lot since the light conversation a little over a year ago, and I'm glad to.
I'm here. Yeah, you guys are all going to know me pretty well.
Well,
All right.
welcome.
Yeah.
I'm gonna press pause here. I'm gonna look out in the audience. Is there anybody else that's heard something they feel compelled they want to come forward and say something? Marianne, you good? Great to see you. Okay. So with that, we will move on from the appearance of interested persons, and let's go into discussion on the number 6.
I'm going to declare a conflict of interest in this due to the fact that I do work for the Keizer Chamber of Commerce. So I'm going to step down until this conversation is over.
Okay, thank you, Joan. There's a lot to unpack here. First off, I couldn't agree more. The pavilion, it's not the right name. It pigeonholes an idea. The concept should be an indoor activity center of some kind. I gotta be honest with you, I like the chamber. I've worked with the chamber for a lot of years. I don't really care what the chamber's position on this outside of them being a participant in the community. I think that this idea of this only being for the chamber is the wrong message. I think this is a community-driven conversation. It's been cornered into, this is a thing only for the chamber, and I think that's unfortunate because there was a lot of narrative around that. The chamber ultimately could be a user, just like any other person that could be a user. This is just my own feelings on this. I really think that there's two very simple questions to ask. Question 1, does it go back in the master plan? Question 2, where? Keizer Rapids Park is 147 plus acres. We have developed far less than 15 total acres of that. So that's less than 10%, or about 10%. We'll round it up and call it 10%. I agree. The natural space out there is absolutely important. It's one of the most important and most beneficial parts, to be able to walk out there and go on the back trails, go down to the river, see all those things. I think the idea of like a consolidated activity center makes sense. I'm not a huge fan of just putting parking for a thing for the sake of just parking for a thing. I think if you're gonna have parking, it has to be consolidated and it has to serve all uses. I don't think you can just say, well, we're gonna only have parking for pickleball and we're only gonna have parking for the boat ramp. Unfortunately, for the boat ramp, it has to exist that way purely because of location. But people use the boat ramp all the time to park their cars where the boats typically go. And I'm sure that when the spring comes back around, Public Works is going to get a lot of complaints about that. Lisa's talked about it many times when she's talked about the amount of people parking in boat spots only that shouldn't be parking there. I got to tell you, I think the consultant group did okay. I think there's areas, in my opinion, they could have done better. I think it was unfortunate that they chose to bring examples of something that has literally never even been discussed. What I can tell you is, from my perspective, having been doing this for a decade, David's been here a little bit longer, Tanya's about there after she came back. As any conversation moves forward, this is not the only bite at the apple. I will guarantee you that the city will have a massively robust conversation about any possible development that moves forward, because that's how we do things the right way. If you go back to the soccer fields, there was lots of conversations about that. I know at least probably 3 West Keizer Neighborhood Association meetings, 2 of which I know for a fact that I went and attended. So I think from that lens, as a community, we have to trust each other to have these big conversations in the event this actually gets back in the master plan to be able to move forward. And be ready to argue and be ready to have really substantive dialogue about what that looks like, because this is our community, this is our park. Again, all that assuming that it gets back in. So that's just kind of my thoughts on this. I think there's a lot to unpack here. We did get new material today from Dawn. It came in email this afternoon. I don't feel like I've necessarily had enough time to fully digest it. But I feel like it's generally responsive to what came from, was it the town hall last week or the week before?
I think it was the 23rd, Monday before.
Whatever, there was a town hall recently, 23rd, okay. And then we've gotten some good testimony, so that's just my thoughts. Anybody else want to share some thoughts?
I'd like to say something. So it's kind of my fault that the tent got put down at the Keizer Rapids Park. I fought like 5 years to get it down there off Cherry Avenue when I was the president of the chamber for a few terms. The parking and the business owners and the Elks and everyone just fought us. They hated it where it was at the Elks. You know, it was just a horrible location, no parking. So I had a bunch of hurdles I had to go over to see if I could get it moved down to the park. I jumped those hurdles, everyone was on agreement. I got it moved down there. I think it's a great place for it. It brings a lot of people. Like you say, it's only a 4-day event. Would a pavilion be nice? Yeah, but you know, the tent's $30,000. Now, granted, after COVID, everything doubled. So, and unfortunately, it hasn't went down. It stayed the same price. So there's a big cost on the tent. Maybe we do a fundraiser and, like you say, we buy one of these tents. It probably costs a lot more than $30,000, but for a 4-day event, and I never realized that this was originally on the master plan and then was taken out of the master plan. So then all of a sudden, like Matt was saying, a lot of people thought it was all the chamber's idea that we wanted this pavilion just for the Keizer Fest. Not true. Would it be nice? Yes. When I heard about it, I thought it was going to be an open basketball arena with just like a big open pole barn with no sides on it, you know, so everyone could use it in the winter to play basketball or run around in it or whatever, no sides on it. But then all of a sudden I go to this town hall meeting and it's like a pavilion and they showing pictures of, you know, like using examples of the Mount Angel Oktoberfest facility out there. It's like, oh my God, I didn't know they were talking about that. The park's beautiful. I grew up in Keizer. I love it down there. It wasn't there when I was a kid. I mean, we rode motorcycles and called it King George, and the gravel pit was back there. And, you know, we went duck hunting on the river, and, you know, it was great. And it's beautiful the way they're doing it. I'm addicted to pickleball. You know, it's got one of the best pickleball facilities in town. So it's a great place, but I think as a chamber, I'm not on the board or anything anymore, but as a chamber past president and stuff, it's not that, don't blame the chamber. This wasn't the chamber's idea. It's a great idea if it happened, but didn't realize it was going to be a second Croc Center. You know, that's the way people were looking at it. And we don't, like you said, we got other places for that. We got property on the other side of the Volcano Stadium, you know, that they wanted me to move the Keizer Fest out there. Well, it's been out at the stadium before and it just didn't do very well. So, the park's a great place for it. It only happens 4 days. Sure, it's supposed to be a moneymaker for the chamber to support local businesses and keep money in the Keizer. It's not making the money it used to because, you know, things like that are getting expensive. The tent, of course, is expensive. And, you know, beer tents don't draw the crowds they used to back in the days, but the bands, and we try to get, you know, things to do like the amphitheater, all the free concerts and stuff, gets a lot of people. It's great down there. So I guess what I'm getting to is don't blame the chamber on this. Don't come after the chamber that it's our fault because we want to build a second Croc Center, because that's not true at all. So, but my thought about it is, would it be great? Yes. In the dog park corner, if it was going to go anywhere, yes. A Croc Center style, no. You know, but if it happens, great. If it doesn't, you know, the chamber will survive. We'll probably always keep having the Keizer Fest down there, and I hope everyone supports it. I know I went to the West Salem Neighbor Associations, had several meetings, and they were all on board for it, and it's worked out well. It's moved since I moved it where it was, but because the soccer fields were going in, and now they put it next to the big toy there, but there's a lot of room down there, and like you said, it's great to go down there. We take the dog for a walk down there. It's amazing how many people are down there nonstop. Like you say, rain or shine, we're all Oregonians. You know, I hate to say it, I had to go to Arizona for 3 months this winter, but sorry for you guys. But, you know, I grew up here, so we get used to it. But anyway.
Well, and Bob, I think that, I just want to reiterate, the point you talked about it being another Croc Center, that's so far out of scope, because we're not talking about the what. We're just, it's a question of yes or no. And it's so important. I can't hammer this home enough. It's a plan. And if you understand the world of planning, it doesn't mean it's going to happen. If you guys, if that's not clear, then you should be expecting to see apartment complexes every 10,000 square foot lot throughout the city, because you know what? The plan allows that. Now, I know there's not exactly kissing cousins, but I just want to make it really clear this is a plan. Caroline, I see you shaking your head, and I appreciate your frustration there, but it's a plan. I mean, we're talking millions of dollars potentially for this to happen. And again, I can promise you, there will, if this were to materialize, there is going to be a massive and very robust and very well communicated process with which that conversation would have to happen. So that's just my 2 cents. Liam?
Thank you, Chair. So I need some context. I wasn't at the town hall because I have orchestra conflicts on Monday evenings. What was the main thing talked about? Like, can I have a quick summary about the?
Well, it was a rehouse of a whole bunch of history. There was a lot of conversation about the green space and preserving green space. I kind of think that was it, right? I mean, the consultant sort of like regurgitated the same level of information that frankly did not help inform the people there to the extent of what the question was. Again, they were talking about the what and not the question, which is yes or no and where. Mm-hmm. So we were seeing once again these Taj Mahal type things or the Croc Center type things, which, you know, is illustrative in nature, but I think unfortunately was not fruitful to the overall conversation from my personal opinion. But Lisa, I'll let you, Lisa and Tanya, you were both there, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, the consultant talked about the things and then took questions / comments from everybody. There was one person who had a big historical viewpoint that seemed very pro-pavilion, who was trying to explain things about how the park was and how it was designed. There were other people who were equally as passionate about leaving the park natural, you know, because most of us don't go to a park to see, you know, to be in a building. So, yeah, so it was just, and it was very chaotic. I will also say it was very chaotic. Is that all right, Tanya? You have anything to add?
Not about the meeting.
Okay.
The only thing that I'll add is I'm grateful we got a second opportunity at it, because frankly, this was supposed to be this was supposed to be figured out in October or November or whenever the hell it was.
Absolutely.
Right? And so like, the fact that we're even here today is a benefit because we got to have more robust conversation with Wes Keizer, which I found to be extremely valuable because it did open up additional opportunity for conversation. So just in that frame, we won.
Right.
In terms of being able to more robustly engage the community. Agreed? Yeah. Sonia?
Not about the town hall, but just in general, we did survey, and I don't know the dates of it, but we did survey information, and a lot of the pieces were access to the river, pathways that connects the park, and there was this huge need for covered space for kids. Because even right now, I'm a pickleball addict now as well. And we go to churches and we go to different spaces, and I'm an adult and playing, but our kids don't have any place to go most times during the year as well. So I like the idea of having some type of covered area. The schools aren't available to be opened, gyms like they used to be back in the day, so it gets harder, or they're already reserved. So there's tons of limitations on that. So the idea about this, I think that Richard Walsh was talking about, is Bob Zielinski was talking about pole barns, which is very different than this.
Well,
So the idea of the pavilion, that was very not helpful. And it doesn't help that every time we have this conversation, Keizer Fest gets brought up, which doesn't put a very good taste in people's mouth, because the community isn't just about Keizer Fest. It's about family and the activities and different things like that. So I think that sometimes in the conversation, it gets taken to Keizer Fest, and that's really not gonna a lot of people don't really want that to happen. So I think if we focus on some of the surveys that were shared, it would be focusing on how to get covered access to our community. And whatever we maximize the space and events that come to be, great. But I think that there is a huge need. Do I know exactly where we should put it? No. However, I do think that if we were to do some type of idea, that option B, hearing from most of today's conversation, would be a good space for it. So that's kind of my history of, I do think that when applications like in May of '24 go out, and the measuring sizes, when we talk about trusting the plan, it's hard to trust whenever I see these inflated things. So I think that that's also where people show up and they're really not sure about what's gonna happen if we do make changes to master plan, or kind of this type of movement is what I would say.
Lisa?
Okay, so if this was a basketball court size thing that was covered in some neighborhood parks, I would be 100% on board with all of this, because I think that the kids in the neighborhoods need to have stuff close to home. Like when I used to play at the playground on school grounds, because it was the 80s and you got to just do that because liability, they didn't care. I mean, we bounced. Sorry.
It was
Tangents.
the 70s, wasn't it?
No, well, okay, I was 10 and 80. So, okay. Thanks, Bob.
Jeez, Bob.
I don't have grandkids. I'm just going to say that. Sorry.
Nothing bad about having grandkids. So
There is nothing bad about grandkids at all. Anyway, so we've listened to all of this. I mean, people, I've seen all the discussions underneath Keizer Times posts. I've seen some of the discussions on social media. Most of the people are coming out against it. The people who come and talk to me are like, oh, you're not going to let this happen. It's like, well, I'm not going to chain myself to a log, but, you know, we're going to talk about things, obviously. But one thing that really struck me last night, because last night I came here to the Long Range Planning Task Force. It was all just talking about the future of Keizer and getting ready for the budgeting process. And this is like the least sexy conversation ever. Right now, Keizer, like, it feels very doom and gloom, but when they were talking about, and forgive me, Carrie, I don't remember if it was storm drains or sewers or water pipes. It was the conversation about, it's the cheapest part about any project is building it. The most expensive part of any project is maintaining it. So if we build something super big and fancy with other people's money, which is just all of our money that's given to us in a grant, to build something really, really fancy and really wonderful, how much is it gonna cost us to maintain it every year? And what's that gonna take away from the play structure at Wallace House, that's been exactly the same since my kids were itty bitty and my youngest is graduating this year? You know, I worry about keeping it maintained and the fact if we have to keep it maintained to a certain level, what it's gonna take away from the 20-year pickup that we're going to replace. I mean, do we need to have a 30-year pickup? Do we need to do more maintenance on the lawnmowers that get used? I mean, yes, covering up some green space will save wear and tear on lawnmowers, but it makes me, yeah.
And those are all super relevant and important discussions. And I think that all matters in the event that something happens. And I think that having that forward mindset is super important because you're right in that you have to plan around the resources you have, not what you think you might have. And so at that level, maybe there is a conversation about something that's very low maintenance with, but again, that's the what, which is literally years down the road. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
No.
But it's a very relevant conversation because I'll tell you,
on my heart.
David and myself, I think are the only ones left, went through an 18-month process to be able to help get the Parks Department the funding necessary to do the things they're doing now.
Yes.
So we understand the pain. Tanya, when she was on the Parks Board before, it was the same conversation year after year after year. We have $797 and 3 packs of gum. Which sports court are we going to try to cobble together again? Councilor Kohler.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Just a couple of things, if you would, please. I very vividly remember sitting in a meeting with county commissioners saying, we want to give you this grant so that you can do a study to figure out if a pavilion or some kind of a facility might be placed in that park. And I brought that to the council and immediately there were some people that said, oh, you can't do that. And there were others that said, man, we should have done that a long time ago. And so that's where that whole discussion is. I'm sorry, part of this is my fault. Now, along with that discussion, the first meeting we had with the consultants after we hired them was, oh, we're going to build the Rose Garden.
Right.
And it was like, no, we're not. We're not building, we're not even putting locker rooms or anything else in the turf field area. So we're not going to do that over here. And so it went from the Taj Mahal to maybe a pole barn, but the pole barn doesn't fit certain rules and regulations of a public facility. And so we're fighting all kinds of different things. So originally, some kind of a building was in the master plan and it was taken out a few years ago. So I think one of the things to remember is, like Chair Lawyer said, if it's in the master plan, it doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be built anytime soon. First of all, we don't have the money to do that. And any money that, if we did do that, it would be done with private funds probably. We'd have some major fundraisers and we'd have grants and all kinds of different things in order to do that. So it may never be built, even if it's put in the master plan. So the whole idea about it being for Keizer Fest, I think that's been hashed out here pretty good. It certainly, that wasn't the main reason for doing that. But we have to remember that the county commissioners are the ones that helped us with a grant to build the turf fields. And that would not be there without the county commissioners. So we need to listen to the county commissioners. They say, hey, this is something we're gonna look at. I think that maybe down the road somewhere, there may be a grant available through the county that might help us someday do that. And I don't think it'll be a great big building. I don't think it's gonna be the size that was written in one of these documents, but we have to remember there's 147 acres down there. And you said 10%. The figures that I looked at said they're 8% is what has been developed. And I think maybe we put a cap on it at 10%. Let's say, let's put this in the master plan with some kind of a caveat that we can't develop more than 10% of the park so I think there's some options that we have, but just to put it in the master plan, I don't think is a bad thing. If we're gonna say a location, I think the area B that has been proposed is probably one of the better locations at this point. We'd have to go past private property in order to do it further, and we don't want to take out the trees or anything else. So I think doing that and then moving the dog park to another location probably is the best option if we ever get to develop it.
David, have you got anything you want to weigh on?
That's you.
I know. I'm debating whether I should say something or not.
I can come back to you if you want to think about it.
Because I was also on the river task force,
Yeah.
and I was on a lot of those task force. And there was opposition to this park from the very beginning. So it hasn't changed. The same people are objecting. So that's as far as I'm gonna go.
Okay. Gwen?
I have nothing to say.
All right. So I want to offer a couple thoughts, and then I'm going to ask you all a couple questions. I'm actually going to work more towards asking you guys to consider tabling this until April. And the reason for that is I don't feel great about the stack of stuff that got dumped on our lap through no fault of Dawn's or anybody else's, but this is brand new information that I can tell you the community hasn't been able to probably digest this memo from MIG or fully taking a look at this. But I want to structure a plan to come back with some responses from Carrie and Robert if we do a motion to table for April. So, would the idea of identifying an activity center where all the future development or any development identified in the master plan needs to be? So for example, if we looked at, for you all right here, just this area here, basically along the path and everything, basically the area where there's development happening right now. So that would be a thought, and just say, look, activity center, that's it. We're not gonna put anything out. We're not building some big thing out in the seasonal use area or out by the pond or anywhere else like that in the gravel pit. So that's one idea. Lisa?
I just had a question on the things that we have to do in the next few years that we got from Robert when he shared that with us. One of the things was to build more parking for the boat ramp. So I just wondered on this, where that is.
Terry, do you know?
And that is not in any packet here. This was at a Parks Board meeting when Robert was talking about different improvements we had in different fiscal years.
I think, and I could be wrong, but I don't know. I feel like if anything, it's gonna go just a touch north, but it's not gonna go into that south lawn, because it can't go into the south lawn.
Okay, I was just, because knowing that that's in the plan, I just wanted to make sure that we knew where it was supposed to go when we're looking at other amenities.
My guess of it would extend to the west a little bit, but I don't know. That's completely hypothetical.
Okay.
My expectation is that there's gonna probably have to be a consultant because you're dealing with stormwater runoff and a variety of other different things when you're gonna hit probably, there's probably a lot. My guess is they're gonna have to come back and do a full, environmental assessment along with the 1200C to be able to identify what the appropriate location was.
Okay.
So that's just my hunch.
Yeah, no, and I just,
So, okay, going back to this idea of an activity center, does anybody like that idea of just saying an activity center? And the reason I say that is because I think we generally kind of have that, but if we identify that, ask Carrie and Robert to look at it and identify activity center, and it's like, this is it. Does that make sense? No?
No.
Okay.
Tell me more about activity center.
Well, I think the idea is basically just to say, nothing out in the wilderness can be touched, and everything has to be consolidated to a boundary line
Okay.
that's already basically being developed.
Okay.
So nothing, obviously, nothing ever in the south lawn, nothing in terms of building anything, like structurally, maybe a fence if it's a dog park, but structurally, nothing around A, nothing around the big toy, none of that stuff. I don't know, we can explore that. I don't know, yes, Carrie?
Thank you, Matt. So my question to you is, what you would be looking for from Robert and I would be to kind of look at that and come up with some kind of.
If it makes sense, because I hear very clearly, like, we want to keep as much of the 147 acres green as humanly possible. I think Councilor Kohler brought up the 10%. I actually don't hate that idea. I think if we say, 10%, so no more than 14.7 acres would be the 10%, could be considered for development. I don't hate that idea. I don't know if the rest of my colleagues feel that same way, but I don't know. Because right now, if it's 8%, 2% isn't, it's not, I'm just trying to get to something where because I think it's really important to preserve as much of the green space as absolutely possible.
There's other stuff on the master plan though that's still.
Everything is identified right here.
No, they have some, I think, what was that, jungle gym
Well, the jungle gym frankly probably needs to come out because the people that were behind that, they're gone and they ain't coming back.
Okay, you know what I'm talking about though?
Confidence course and the slough.
Agility course or?
Yeah, it was the confidence course that was in the slough. And there was a bunch of people, there was a group of people behind that and a bunch of kids. And unfortunately, the ROTC leader that was running that basically ended up leaving the state.
Well, where the master plan, when I saw it, was where the A is.
I think that's right, yeah.
Yeah, not back in the woods and stuff.
Right.
Anyway.
Well, and the slough has been since filled, so it wouldn't even work for the original idea, which is to have the multi-layered thing. Carrie, sorry.
So what we could do is take a look at what we have planned based on the master planning and look at like what percentages that is so that you would be able to maybe look at what the pavilion.
If you guys think it's a reasonable conversation, because again, I think preserving as much of the green space is absolutely necessary.
Okay. If that would be helpful, then the staff can provide something to that effect for your review when you're making that decision.
Now, that being said, does anybody think anything like this building should go in A?
In A?
Yeah.
No.
Okay, so let's get it out. A is not even a part of the conversation. We'll scrap A. That's a no-go. For any indoor activity center, Rhonda, where are you at? Let's stop calling it the pavilion, you guys. It's not a pavilion. It's an indoor activity center. Regardless if it's got a roof and no walls or a roof and 4 walls, let's call it an indoor activity center. Do we agree on that? So we're not getting,
Right. The Taj Mahal is off the table.
unless it floats.
But we could have the rose garden.
in the river.
No, we cannot do it on the river.
Wait, are we doing a riverboat casino?
No, we can
What are we saying?
river.
No riverboat
Play
casino.
cover. We'll just call it a play cover.
Okay, so A is out of bounds. We all agree that that's a no-go. Okay. Can we agree that to the extent possible, any parking needs to serve all uses and not just have one-off parking like, oh, hey, obviously the boat ramp's a little bit of a different story, but it does serve a few different uses, but
We want to maximize current parking as much as possible.
overflow for the sports field, overflow for the big toy,
I'm thinking, how do you bridge
pickleball.
these to
Right.
make it bigger? Yes.
Right. Lisa?
Oh, I was just gonna try to push your microphone closer.
Oh,
Because
sorry.
some people are having a hard time hearing you.
That's weird. I'm sorry, guys. The statement was try to consolidate parking as much as possible so as not to just create random one-off parking spots or parking lots. So that the statement, and I think Carolyn, you made it, which is it will require 200 extra parking spots. But if we, no, Ellen might have, I apologize. Somebody said 200. I remember that number.
Can you have do this probably?
Carol, was it you? Somebody, Rhonda. Okay, anyways, it doesn't matter. Somebody said 200 extra parking spots. The point is, if we can achieve a goal and only have to do 70 parking spots because it's co-located with other parking, that seems to be a rational way to look at it. Agreed?
Agreed.
Okay. What else? What else are we missing, Lisa? Because these are just extra options to consider. I really think for the sake of the conversation, I don't want to make a full recommendation on yes or no tonight. I really like to actually make a motion at some point to table this and bring it back in April.
Yeah, I mean, it's good. And when I look at this map, I don't see 10% already developed. I see this development of all the disc golf that's already developed. So this whole area has a use that is a dedicated use, so there's with parking over here, and then there's all of this. So all people thinking that this is all just free, it's not. And it's not dedicated tournaments all the time.
Yeah.
But it is a dedicated use, and you do take your head into your own hands when you walk through it if you're not paying attention, because somebody, one of those discs can take off your head. And they're really good about it, and they're really sweet, but, you know.
I hear I'm waiting for somebody to start the song, but.
Okay.
A reminder too, that this was in the initial master plan, and it sounds like it was a technicality, that it wasn't even like it was voted out of the master plan, it just didn't show up in the master plan. So
No, ironically,
that was
the same
information-
consultant pulled it out.
And that information was new to me too, so this wasn't new, but rather it ended up becoming a bigger thing when we started seeing these buildings
Yeah.
options.
Well, and I think that confused things, and it unnecessarily confused things, because frankly, I don't care if they would have came in and said, this is what you're gonna build. The people in the community are gonna tell us what we're gonna build, if ever something gets built. Now, the conversation is, put it somewhere else. The reality is, we have no control whatsoever on if we could say, put it at Rite Aid, or put it at, by Volcanoes. The city owns some of that property up by Volcanoes, but it's dedicated industrial land. The underlying zoning would prohibit it. In many cases, I don't know, for example, if that could be changed, but as much as we'd like to say, if some big benefactor said, hey, we'd like to put down a chunk of 3 acres of land, here you go, great. That's a private thing, and I think the city would get absolutely behind that. That's not the question before us. We cannot, as a Parks Board, dictate, go put it here, right? And frankly, none of the other parks would really support something like this. Claggett is just at capacity with the sports activities that happen there. And frankly, that boardwalk is gonna be really nice, and it's gonna be a great place for people to go walk.
Cool.
Okay, so we're saying no to A, looking and seeing if we can identify a theoretical appropriate activity center seems to be a conversation worth looking at. Maybe we don't necessarily have to specifically identify it, but if you and Robert are looking at it and say, this seems to make a lot of sense, great. The activity center with an asterisk, because yes, there is boat-in camping along the river, and there's disc golf throughout the area. But I think we can all absolutely agree that doing any kind of major construction out in the wooded area, I said wilderness, but I meant to say wooded area,
Wilderness.
is an absolute no-go.
Yes.
Unless it's natural, right? So if somebody wanted to come out and they wanted to, move hills around or whatever, I don't know, whatever. You never know what's gonna happen. I think at one point they talked about a BMX course that was gonna be all natural.
Oh, it's
dirt.
kind of in there.
I know. We said absolute no to A. What else? Are we missing anything? Okay, I would like to ask for a motion to table this item until April. That way Carrie can work with Robert and Adam. And again, folks, please take the time, go online, get a copy of this memo, get a copy of this. Come back, tell us why we're all making right decisions or wrong decisions. But again, this is super important, in my opinion, that this conversation is right.
I know.
And again, I don't feel super comfortable making a recommendation based off of information we just got here today from the consultant.
So I move that we table this discussion until April and allow our new Public Works Director, Ms. Blaylock, and Robert to go and look at options and bring them back to us so that we can make a thoughtful and informed decision.
I second.
So I got a motion by Lisa and a second by Bob. He got you there faster. Sorry, Gwen. Any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say nay. Motion passes unanimously. And you know what, Carrie, I'm sorry. I should have said thank you. Like, you're here. You're brand new. Again-ish. Thank you for being here.
Yeah, no.
Well,
I
so
was
if you
happy
don't
to
know,
see her.
Carrie worked with us in the environmental division before. We're very happy to have her back as the Public Works Director, and I'm sure I will drive you nuts. We got lots of history, 10+ years going
Jill.
back.
You're back on.
Okay, so, thank you guys, please take a look, if you want to stay for the rest of the meeting, we appreciate it. But, yeah, all right. Moving back to item number 5, discussion on establishing a policy for the attendance requirement. Dawn, what is this about?
So we have in all of the committee resolutions, a 75% attendance requirement for the members, except for the planning commission. They have their own, code that has a policy in there. We're looking at developing a policy that goes along with that 75% requirement so that we know that when there's an attendance issue, we know how to handle the situation. And so the volunteer coordinating committee has several bullet points in the packet that they came up with, and they're wondering if you agree with that. Do you have any changes? Do you have anything to add to the process?
The bullet points are just the last page here?
Probably, before that.
Got it.
I knew I saw it.
Okay.
And we haven't had an issue with not having quorum.
You have not.
We have a very engaged committee is what I'm gonna say. So I don't know if these attendance policies, should affect us.
Don't look at me.
Nope,
We cover you. We cover you, Bob.
right,
Sorry.
We float you, you know?
His
Pickleball
life size
with
cutout
Colin.
that we put there.
Right.
yeah.
So what is the problem we're actually trying, who knows about this? Are
It
you,
must not be our committee, because we don't have that issue. Must be other committees that are having people not show up.
Yes, that's correct. And
It looks like it's also the.
Couple.
Mr. Chair.
Sorry, Don, we interrupted.
I am,
that's
Council
okay.
Fuller?
thank you, Mr. Chair. I'm the liaison for the Volunteer Coordinating Committee, so I do know a little bit about why they're asking this.
Okay.
So there are several committees that the city has that has members on the committee that just have not been there. And then it makes it very difficult to try to ascertain if there's going to be a quorum for the meeting. So sometimes we'll think that there's going to be everybody that needs to be there, and then they're not. Then we don't have the ability to hold the committee. And so there are some things that just can't get done. So what this is really for is to help our city staff know how to accomplish removing someone from a committee if they haven't met the attendance requirement, so that we can have a quorum for our meetings.
I mean, I know, let's see, in the past, when we've had issues where attendance becomes a challenge, I've done it, well, David and I had to deal with it once during parks, like, gosh, it's been 8 years ago or better now. But we just called the member and said, hey, look, if you're not gonna come, make a choice, right? Because you're holding a seat, and, they voluntarily resign. I've asked the planning commissioner in the past to, make a call, but I guess what this is saying is sort of move that opportunity to the city recorder for them to be able to call, and I mean,
Just follow up a little bit, because not all committees have chairs that are as proactive as you are.
I'm just nosy.
Did I say that right? I mean, there are some chairs that are just trying to figure out how to be a chair.
Well,
And if there's somebody that's not coming, then they look at our city recorder's office and say, what do I do? The city recorder's office says, well, there's nothing in there that says this is the way that I should handle it.
Yeah.
Or that a chair should handle it. So this is trying to just to make it possible for somebody to have some fuller, more detailed directions on how to handle a situation.
Sounds like we should build something into the chair's expectations. Yeah, I agree.
When they sign up.
Right, I mean, well, it could be
No, I mean, I don't think it's a bad idea, Lisa.
No, I just have a question. If we have some members that have varying amounts of attendance, I don't know how to put that nicely, but it's not a problem, do we then, would it trigger this? Or would it only be triggered if we were having problems?
That's a great question. So, Madam Co-Chair, one of the challenges is that this is a bigger committee than some committees.
Yeah.
And the requirement on the city books right now says that when you agree to be on a committee, you agree to be there at least 75% of the time. So I think that it wouldn't hurt to put some kind of a asterisk in there to say, please check with the committee chair before we make a phone call to somebody who says, where the heck are you? Are you ever going to show up again? Should we bump you?
Right.
Well, go ahead.
I absolutely agree that people should give as much notice as possible when they're gonna miss a meeting.
Yeah, I think that's super important. I mean, for the most part, with parks and planning, you know, people let Dawn know. Dawn always sends an email. I think there's a difference between an excused absence versus an unexcused absence, right? Like, I don't want to penalize somebody for becoming a grandparent or a parent or having a death in the family and needing to be there, right?
Agreed.
Now, that being said, I also think that the attendance has been, and I think continues to need to be, a factor that the VCC needs to consider for reappointment. And I would urge that to be a great place for teeth to happen, only because if somebody hasn't met their minimum threshold with no excuse, with unexcused absences, and that to me is frankly a deal breaker unless there's really just a lot of life that happened or there's not another warm body they can stick in the seat. But, you know, I think the 75% thing, I think to the extent that we can give city staff the ability to just say, look, you know, you've missed 4 of the last 5 meetings. You can consider resigning so we can get the seat back open. Because unfortunately, just telling them, hey, you're gone again, doesn't solve the issue of lack of a quorum. They still have to go VCC, so you're still talking minimum probably 2-month process, unless at some point there's an ability for a more immediate thing to happen, which I don't know how that would work. But I think just simply asking somebody to resign doesn't remedy the issue without another person to come in and be more successful at filling those times. But I think giving Melissa or Dawn the ability to say, hey, you're kind of approaching this, I just need you to be aware, to me, seems to make sense. But I also agree that it definitely needs to be, it needs to carry a bit more weight, in my opinion, at the VCC level. So like, frankly, I would say to the extent that Dawn's getting VCC applications and she's saying, she's going, and you know, out of 5 meetings last year, they went to 1. In my opinion, it should be like a, you know, give it to the committee, they can consider it or not. I don't think it's an automatic go just because people don't volunteer.
Follow up.
Yeah.
So currently, the VCC doesn't have the authority to bump somebody off a committee. You know, the rule says that they have a 75% attendance requirement, but they don't have the authority to bump anybody, nor does our city staff.
Well, then, I mean,
Right. But they have the ability to not reappoint them if they come for the next term.
That is true, but
They
then.
can look at that.
But again, some committees, that length of assignment is a couple of years, so if they're on the committee and they're going good for 6 months and then we don't ever see them again, that's 18 months that are
Yeah.
unaccounted for.
well, and I think at that rate, maybe it's just a conversation that the city recorder has with the chair and the chair has with the committee liaison, whether it's email, I don't know how it works out, and then go to the city liaison goes to the council and say, we've got somebody we need to remove from the committee. Because if VCC can't do it, that's the only appropriate way, if somebody's not willing to resign.
So follow up then, do you have enough information to take back to the committee now with this discussion to have some recommendations on how things can be done?
Yeah, I think I'm hearing that the chairs may want to play a piece in this with the communication with the members that are having attendance issues. So we can just support you if you want to be the first call, to the member and just provide the attendance information to you.
But I also, I think it's super important, Don, and I think as much as it sounds like an egotistical statement, I think Councilor Kohler's right. You may not have chairs that are engaged as much, that may not be willing to have the confrontational conversation. So if that's the case, I really think it's important that staff have the ability to make the conversation. If you have a chair that's like, gosh, I just don't want to hurt, Tanya's feelings, then I think you or Melissa or somebody needs to be fully empowered to reach out and say, hey, just making you aware, this is what the policy, this is where you're at. But that should not be the fallback, in my opinion. I think if people are willing to be the chair and sit at the center table, it comes with all the ugly, right? And so that's part of the chair training, in my opinion. Don't just do it ceremonial. If you're going to take the job, you got to be the nice guy and the bad guy occasionally. Or gal, excuse me.
And in my experience, most commonly, life is what's causing.
Yeah.
We had a committee member, and the reality was they wanted to be here, and life wasn't letting them. And I was like, so what does that mean? So, and it's hard to say goodbye to the committee especially like this committee. So I think that most commonly those conversations won't be like, I'm not giving up my seat, but rather, I just don't really want to.
Well, we even train Clay to reach out in advance.
Right.
And that's hard.
That's important.
And you know what? Bob doesn't deserve to get penalized because he has a grandbaby.
No, you guys knew I was gonna be gone. I let you know.
I know.
Right.
I let very few know, but I let the people that needed to know.
Yeah.
So that's why I didn't know.
But that's the point, is the respect and the mutual communication to say, this is what it is. And it's not to say that people aren't, confrontation is uncomfortable, right? But if the chairs aren't willing to do it and it's their job, then I think Dawn needs to step in and say, hey, or it's pretty much Dawn because you cover all the committees, but,
Right. Would this be helpful to your work, Dawn?
Yes. Yes.
Okay,
thank
well
you.
then, that being said,
and then
let's make this happen.
I do want to say, if it doesn't if your phone call doesn't do it, then I fully expect council liaisons to step in and say, you know what, if you need to talk to the council liaison or the chair or whatever, I fully expect the council liaisons to step in and say, you know what, I'm sorry, we've got a member on a committee that has been unable to attend meetings. They're outside the policy threshold. We need to get it back open up for new volunteers. I just think that's appropriate.
And it doesn't have to be confrontational.
No.
I mean, just reaching out and saying, hey, what's going on? Is there anything we can do? Finding out what's going on and making them know that they're welcome to come back. Because some people, if they miss a couple of meetings and they forgot to
They're
call in,
scared, yeah.
they get all nervous, like people are gonna be mad at me, and people are gonna be mean to me if I come back, and we're not.
Life happens and not everybody is excited as Liam to be here.
Right.
All right, have you got enough done?
Yes, thank you.
Councilor Fuller, thank you. All right,
Oh, we still have stuff to do.
Tanya, Meadows,
They
and,
look great.
great,
Move.
Gwen,
Mine are good too.
Spongy?
No, not, they weren't bad at all. They weren't bad at all.
I heard SWAT was at Claggy Creek last night, that's fun.
There then.
Nobody saw me.
David, Ben Miller, Northridge,
Northridge is undeveloped,
can you find it?
and Ben Miller looks just fine as usual. It's very well maintained.
Jill,
Have been down in Northview for a couple of weeks. Last time I was there, it was pretty wet, but looked pretty good. And then, Mike Whittam, I'm gonna contact the gentleman who runs the garden
Okay.
and work with him on maybe getting him in front of us.
Lisa, your 3 parks?
So Palmacia is beautiful, absolutely perfect, wonderful. The straw wattle that keeps the bank from eroding is still down. Part of the wattle has come dislodged. And I don't know if Austin was gonna work on it but I know that there's just 3 staff to take care of all 19 parks.
Yeah, we are a little bit short right now.
Absolutely. So, yeah, I just want to remind you that that is there.
I'll note that and also, okay, go ahead.
Okay, and then sunset. Oh, the other thing about Palmacia is people have been leaving sticky notes with Bible verses on things, which I thought was very interesting. I didn't take them down. I read them. I kept walking. It was fine. But they're changing and they're not all, so somebody picks them up and then puts new ones there. So it's a very interesting thing. Sunset is sunset. I mean, still has that, driftwood log that's semi-cut up and just kind of sitting there. And I don't know if we're gonna use that for firewood for other people, if we're going to take it away, or if we're gonna have people come in and take it out. And then Keizer Rapids looks good, except for people doing cookies in the fields. I don't like people doing cookies in the fields. Baking cookies at home? Yes. Doing cookies in the fields? No.
Stupid is, stupid does, ma'am.
Yep.
All right. Quick new old business. We have nothing, but I'm going to take the time. This Saturday is the 16th annual Keizer Civic Center cleanup. It's going to rain. Who cares? Get a bridge and a vacuum, suck it up and get over it. All right. It's Keizer. It's Oregon. It's March. That's what it does. 9 o'clock Saturday morning. Be here right out by the entrance off the main drag here. We're doing something super cool this year, and I'm going to say it, which means hopefully it still materializes. But if you've done this in the past, we've typically had a 30-yard debris bin right at the end of the entrance here. Marcus with Lawrence Sanitation reached out and said, hey, what does your dream look like? And I said, don't ask because you don't want to know. And he says, no, I definitely want to know. We will have this year a garbage truck on Rickman and a garbage truck on Bailey, and we're going to have a whole bunch of green bins. So all of the stuff that's out here from basically the driveway down Bailey will go in little green bins, go to the garbage truck, they'll put them in that. And then everything on Rickman around the Heritage Center and then to the entrance over by the park shop will go to the garbage truck out on Rickman. And then everything this way from Chalmers Jones through the front part of the Civic Center and then probably down to the Heritage Center a little bit will come to the original 20-yard debris bin. So we're creating some efficiency there. Councilor Kohler is going to be in charge of one of the garbage trucks. I haven't decided which one yet, but he'll be sitting there saying, come here and helping direct people.
Is the chief gonna be in any of those?
Chief
I am on the
Chief and
trash
my daughter and Tim are going to be fighting over who's going to be in the one here.
Okay.
But it's going to be a good day. Clegg Creek Watershed Council, Keizer Rotary putting this on every year. We still need the same amount of volunteers, the more the merrier. For those able-bodied individuals that are interested, Friday morning at 8 a.m., we'll be meeting out here to do the trimming. And so there's all the pre-work that happens before the big work happens. And so if you're interested in that, get a hold of me. Really excited Jeremy Turner is going to come out and help with that this year. He doesn't know that, I just told him. Yeah, good times, great oldies there. Looking forward to that great work. Bob, we're going to miss you. You're like the granddaddy OG of that project from way back.
I'm getting too old for that stuff anymore. You
Yeah.
young guys can do it.
We'll have to come up with maybe it's gardening. Is that the version of this kind of thing for pickleball? I don't know. Okay.
For 10 years, it was fun.
Yeah, it's good stuff.
I can't hold a hedge trimmer, gas-powered hedge trimmer as long as I used to.
Yeah. Carrie, have you got anything to add on the staff report?
I would like to just share that you may or may not know that the council has approved the awarding of the contract for Bob Newton improvements.
Oh, cool.
So I just wanted to let you know that contract is in motion and that work should begin soon.
Great.
If you're not familiar with, are you familiar with the improvements? You probably have.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
We did the park
Yeah.
walk.
The little, the parks tour in September,
Yeah,
but the little merry-go-round thing is super fun. Lisa got dizzy in it.
Well, yeah,
Okay.
And when we're talking to Bob about that park, we call it Him Newton Park,
we do.
or You Newton Park. It's fun because we tease Bob. Councilor Kohler.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. On your parks report, there's one that was missing, the Ryan J. Hill Memorial Park. There was a
Oh, gosh,
little
that
bit
did
of
happen in
action there this last month, and
Because we didn't have a February Parks meeting.
I just wanted to say congratulations on a great effort, combined effort of a lot of people. Mr. Lawyer can probably name a lot of names that have been involved in that. When they first came to the Parks Board and talked about that, I think we looked at that and said, you know what, that's the right thing to do. That was all put together with donated and private funds. There was a lot of work done by a lot of people. The city donated some time and effort from our Parks Board and an amazing thing. If you go to any city and say, we're going to try to put together this kind of a project and do it in the time frame that we accomplish that, that is stellar. It is just amazing that happens. So I just wanted to say kudos to all the people that were involved in that. And as to the Parks Board, thank you for supporting such a worthy and wonderful project.
Dr. Harris, the outgoing CEO for the Woody Williams Foundation, said it is the fastest a project has ever gotten completed with that foundation. He said on average they're 5 years. 300 plus hours of time at the location, 37 plus volunteer days. I'm so unbelievably grateful for this body to say yes, to put up some of the money to pay for the monument. If you haven't go, please go. We're not done. We're gonna do some more work. We're gonna be doing a spring planting out there. Some of the old hedges and stuff are really, really bad out there, in the bushes. So we're gonna get rid of those and put brand new, very nice bushes in the area. And we're gonna kind of spruce that whole entire area up. And
There needs to be some work on the bridge.
yeah. But I mean, just an unbelievable. It was a huge turnout. It was raining. It was miserably raining. But we had, I think somebody said close to 300 people that showed up that day. And it was really difficult. One of my very good friends, one of the chief petty officers that I worked with in the Navy, I've known him for 20 plus years. He was there. You know, it's an experience that if you have never experienced it, you're very blessed. But yeah, thank you for bringing that up. I didn't forget that it was done. I just forgot we didn't talk about it already. Anything else to add?
Just thank you for all the work that this committee does. As a city councilor, I look at a lot of different committees and attend a lot of different committees. This committee really rocks. They really are engaged, they're involved, and we have a lot of doers. And that makes a lot of difference. So as a city, as a councilor, I want to personally say thank you.
Gwen?
I just wanted to thank you, Matt, for you were being the driving force of this. You just pushed everybody. You were just so, you were great.
You were pushing.
You're very pushy.
You're pushy,
so
you're being
pushy in a good
pushy.
way.
But no, you were in a good way.
Yeah, right.
You know, you encouraged people. You were just,
Rallied.
you made sure it got done.
Well,
You know, we want to thank you. Or at least I want to, well, we all do.
as I look at us all, right? We can have disagreements, we can have conversations. What's great about this body of people is we all have one thing in common when it comes to wanting to do the best thing for the people of Keizer and for our community. And that's rare, because you don't get to see a lot of that anymore. And so I'm very grateful for that. And I just want to kind of brag a little bit on the council and the workforce. They just completed a very good work session this last Saturday on the future of police funding. It was a well-documented and well-presented bit of information. And for those people that have not been familiar with it, you need to educate yourself on the work done by that committee and that task force, because I think it was very eye-opening for people that really aren't paying attention. So I just want to congratulate the city council on excellent work there. So
I'll say it was eye-opening for us that were engaged even. It was pretty amazing.
let's see, the 16th, I actually have to be here anyways. Gwen, do you want me to cover for you, or? March 16th for the council report,
Oh,
so next Monday?
if you want to.
Okay, because I have to come anyways, so I'm
Okay.
happy to do it.
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
It's okay, you could have picked me, but it's fine.
So we'll be back in April with some stuff. I would just say, let's be ready to have a recommendation ready to go. It's a yes or no question. We've identified, I think, solidly the where. And as you're talking to people, just remind them, This is a yes or no, this is not a what. And the what will, if it's a yes, the what will only matter when the people of Keizer say it matters. And it's a very robust and very informed and very thoughtful, overall set of communications, so. We have gone a little bit, Bob told me straight away, he goes, hey, get done, let's go.
It's only 7 according to the clock.
I know, we're only at 7 o'clock, we've only been doing this for 50 minutes.
Change the clock.
Guys.
Hey, good seeing you guys. We'll see y'all Saturday. We are adjourned at 7:10, or 7:50.